and friendly faces. So I won't delay. Hopefully I'm not apologizing ahead of time. This is the first time I've actually had to share my screen with a big group like this. So let's see how this works.
So remember, he's engineering, not technology. So give him a little grace here. So we don't need him to know technology. We need him to know engineering. So we give you grace.
Thank you.
How many hours does it take to share a screen?
Hang on just a second. I'm working with two different screens here, and okay. Let's see. Well, all right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
All right, good deal. All right. Harris County Precinct 3 is what this is all about, obviously. I'm one of the project managers. Eric Heppen and Mr. Shulhab are also technical staff members. I handle most of our traffic signal, intersection improvement, sidewalk projects. Eric Heppen handles a lot of our flood control liaison work with road and bridge, a lot of our parks projects, and Mr. Shulhab manages most of our CIP projects, and he's obviously our manager and has been my boss here since came to work here in 1998. We've been having a lot of fun doing the bidding of Commissioner Steve Raddick. He gives us the freedom to do as much as possible, as quickly as possible. And that's what we've been doing for the last 20 years. Let me make sure I'm forwarding my slides for you guys. Some interesting facts about Precinct 3, that we're in the westernmost part of Harris County, and we're the home of over 1.2 million residents. Right before we got on, I took a look, and Precinct 3 would be the third largest city in the state of Texas if we were a city. So to be fair, though, about half of those residents are within incorporated areas and City Houston and other cities. So we're responsible for about a little over 500,000 residents and keeping them moving and happy. We're a pretty large county. We've got a lot of unincorporated areas that aren't developed yet. So we have to keep that in mind when we're looking at our capital improvement projects and intersection improvement projects, and how that future development is going to impact our roads. We have over almost 2,000 miles of roads we're responsible for maintaining, and almost 30,000 feet of bridges within Precinct 3. One of Commissioner's the part that I think the Commissioner enjoys the most is our parks. Our road and bridge department has all this maintenance to do, but I can't think of a time period where they weren't actually out building a park as well. So we've got approximately 70 parks and all kinds of amenities in those parks. We have some of the largest footprints of parks, primarily because we're in the Addicks and Barker Reservoir, using that federal property for parks as well. It's a great dual use when those reservoirs are dry, to provide amenities for our communities to use. Ranges from a shooting center all the way to just a standard hike and bike trail. One of the craziest things we never thought we would be doing 20 years ago is dog parks. We now have 5 dog parks. As y'all know, those are very popular. We have 8 community centers. We have 2 senior education centers where seniors can go to learn how to use computers, learn how to use computer programs, and all other kinds of education opportunities. We have 2 environmental education centers. One is out Kleb Woods, up close to 2920, has an interesting story. I'd encourage anybody who's never been there to go visit and learn the story of Elmer Caleb. The most recent one is the John Paul Landing Environmental Education Center. It's the western part of the county. And let's move forward with some slides, and we'll talk about John Paul Landing a little bit. This is an old slide. I'm going to apologize. It's a rehash from last year, but long and short of it, that's pictures of the weekly community center that was recently completed in the last 4 or 5 years. We've got all kinds of activities at our senior education center. Also in our parks have a lot of hike and bike trails. In the top left corner, you'll see some Terry Hershey trail amenities where we built the trail underneath I-10 in conjunction with TxDOT. Had a lot of hike and bike trails, and we're very proud of what we've been able to accomplish, not only for recreation, but even commuters being able to use our hike and bike trails to get to work. Highlighting a couple of our park projects, John Paul's Landing is out on the west side. It's on West Road, just west of the Grand Parkway. If you've ever been on the Grand Parkway and seen the large FedEx distribution facility, we're right behind that. It was awarded the 2018 Parks and Natural Areas Award by HGAC. It's over 850 acres in size. The current lake, this is updated from last year, is 185 acres. It provides over 900 acre feet of detention in that Cypress Creek overflow area. Ultimately, we're going to be at about 450 acres of lake with over 2,200 acres of detention, acre feet of detention capacity. And we just opened the Environmental Education Center in February. That was partially funded by a grant from Texas Parks and Wildlife. I strongly encourage you to visit that site if you've not had the opportunity. A new park that we're about to open, one of our smaller parks at 120 acres. Grant Wood was a subdivision at one time, and it had multiple homes in it that flooded multiple times. Flood control was able to buy out almost all of the homes in that subdivision, and we took the opportunity to develop a park. We're going to have our standard facilities in that park that includes playgrounds, restroom, walking trails, and the such. So we will be opening that park fairly soon as we get some minor issues resolved and can open up the bathroom or the restroom in that facility. That park will be opening up. This is an old slide from last year, so I apologize. It has a little bit of old information on it. And hopefully y'all can see my little laser pointer. This is the existing lake area. We just finished excavating the western part of that and finished excavating this part. It was this part right here was a 7-acre tract that was being excavated by a contractor with a contract with flood control. They give them the dirt if they'll excavate it. And so we just recently finished out this area and it is now open. This is the current footprint of the site. This area is under design for future excavation. We're also under construction on a trail all around the north side, and we're under construction on another park in this area. Let me go to the next slide. We have the existing 3 pods on the south side that are open to the public. We have a fishing area. It's very well supplied as far as opportunities for fishing. Our new environmental education facility is right here in the park. You access it off of Katie Hockley Cutoff. It's a long, pretty drive into the facility, and it's kind of tucked away. And obviously, for an environmental education center, we wanted it as far away from as much of the public activity as possible. And we'll have some interesting opportunities in the future as they develop their program. Jump into our the technical staff's bread and butter with our capital improvement projects and our intersection improvement projects. I went ahead and threw in our Clay Road Community Center in here as well. We've got about $22 million worth of work under construction. That Clay Road Community Center is the replacement for our Bear Creek facility that was flooded in the latest flooding event. It was in the Addicks Reservoir in Bear Creek Park, and the devastation to the facility, we just decided to, since we had to rebuild it outside of the reservoir. It is under construction now. I'm not sure of the when they're planning on having it open, hopefully by the end of the year. But it has just started construction within the last couple months. Cypress North Houston is one of our typical projects from greenhouse to bark and trace. It was recently completed. We were just finishing the concrete boulevard section on that stretch. It is now a 4-lane boulevard all the way through the Town Lake subdivision. This Mossy Oaks drainage project is a new one for us. I don't know if y'all really understand the activities of the precinct's maintenance, but historically, Harris County Precinct 3 and the other precincts were simply maintenance organizations. We, if a developer develops a project, if they build it to county specifications, if the Harris County Permit Office approves and accepts their infrastructure, we take it over for maintenance. With the recovery from all the flooding here recently, the Harris County Engineering Department created the Recovery and Resiliency Division, and this Mossy Oaks drainage project is the first project that they put out for bid, and it's in conjunction with 3 other subdivisions in the area. Mossy Oaks, Brandywine Oaks, and Cypress Place subdivision are all in the same area on Cypress North Houston. There's to be 3 different projects that they will construct to improve the drainage in these older subdivisions. This project should be under construction before the end of the year. It's already been bid, and we have a contract that they're trying to get under contract. Moving on, Huffmeister at Hempstead is just a simple project to replace an existing traffic signal. Huffmeister at Louetta at Huffmeister, I don't know if you're familiar with the area. Louetta Road east of this, it's the next project, will be under construction fairly soon. That is a joint project to finish Louetta over Little Cypress Creek. It's a joint project with our partners over at Precinct 4. We're looking forward to that. And this Huffmeister at Louetta is an intersection just west of that project. We want to have that intersection signalized by the time we open up Louetta across Little Cypress Creek. We have a sidewalk project under construction in the Fallbrook, North Eldridge area. LMI stands for low to moderate income area. We've got some community development block grant funding for that project, and that project is under construction right now. West Road from Woodson Terrace to Greenhouse, that is between Fry and Greenhouse. That'll just be completing a half boulevard and converting it to a full boulevard section just west of Greenhouse. And I believe that'll complete all of West Road. West of Greenhouse will be 4 lanes at that point. Moving on to design phase projects. We've got about $44 million worth of projects under design. This is probably the appropriate time to mention that we have a new county transportation plan that the Commissioners Court has given us to implement. It has placed projects into 4 funding buckets, and all our projects moving forward will have to either meet one of those criteria, or we'll have to find other funds for those. So a lot of our projects are up in the air in terms of when they will move forward, but just wanted y'all to see what we've got under design, and we expect most of these projects to move forward, but there is possibility they may have to be delayed depending on how they fit into our county transportation plan. Barker Cypress at Queenston will be an intersection improvement project that will go to bids in the next couple months. That project will add a southbound dual left turn at that intersection and change the eastbound approach to a dual left as well to accommodate some additional traffic coming from the west there. The Brandywine and Cypress Place subdivision drainage project, those are the two subdivision drainage projects I was telling you about that are in conjunction with the Mossy Oaks. These projects they're trying to wrap up design and get them ready to go to bids around the end of the year. Clay at Elrod is just a new traffic signal. Nothing exciting there. I went ahead and included Cypress Rose Hill on the list. This is up in the 2920 area. I know a lot of people in the Cypher area travel north to the Tomball or to Montgomery County. So I just wanted to include this project. It's converting in that 2-lane asphalt road to a 4-lane concrete boulevard, which will complete it all the way to 2920 and will improve that intersection. Bright Longenbaugh is another one of our intersection improvement projects. And you'll see a spattering of these intersection improvement projects in my list because what we've done is we've gone back in our system and located our bottlenecks. There's typically at our major intersections like Barker Cypress at Queenston, like Fry at Longenbaugh, and we're looking for ways to move more traffic through the corridor without having to widen the 4-lane boulevard to another 6-lane. We're trying to get rid of these bottlenecks at the major intersections before we even consider any other options. But this project will add southbound dual left turn lanes and a westbound dual left turn lane and a northbound exclusive right turn lane at that intersection. Bright Windstone is just a new traffic signal. It's an intersection north of Clay Road. These 3 greenhouse projects are in the Town Lake area. We're trying to get prepared to have greenhouse to be a full 4-lane boulevard all the way through that area in anticipation of the greenhouse at 290 Skinner interchange that the developer is moving forward building or designing, and they were able to get some federal funds for that project. So we just want to be prepared that greenhouse is a full 4-lane boulevard by the time they get there. And this greenhouse at Mound also includes a short section of Mound to the west of that intersection. So we're excited about finishing up greenhouse through that area south of 290. We have some other low to moderate income sidewalk projects. This PY 2021 sidewalk projects includes sidewalks down in the A-Leaf area. It includes some sidewalks in the Katy area, and it includes some sidewalks in the Huffmeister and Cypress North Houston area as well. That is CDBG funding and will be moving forward hopefully next year when the Community Services Department releases those funds. Uski is a couple of projects outside of the Cypher area, but to the north. And these 2 projects, when they're able to move forward, will finish up Uski to a 4-lane concrete boulevard all the way to north of 2920. This project also is in conjunction with Precinct 4. I failed to put that in there. I apologize to my Precinct 4 friend. But this will get the concrete boulevard finished to north of 2920. Queenston at Longenbaugh is just a simple intersection improvement project to extend the left turn lanes and do some pedestrian facility upgrades there. Shill Road projects are the 2 projects north of the Fairfield area, and we'll finish or convert that 2-lane asphalt road to a 4-lane concrete boulevard. And ultimately we'll have an interchange with the Grand Parkway. That's a toll road is working on that interchange project in conjunction with TxDOT. So that Shill will have a connection to the frontage roads and be able to access the Grand Parkway as well. We have a new program. It's Safe Routes to School program through our county transportation plan. So we're going to be doing some 2 projects, one in the Katy area, and this sidewalk project, package 1, was in the Cy-Fair area. It will serve Burks Elementary and Aragon Middle School in the Queenston and West Road area, and finish up some sidewalks in that area. But the majority of them are in the Holmesley, Langham Creek High School area. We've got a lot of pedestrian activity, and we needed to finish up the sidewalks in that area. Spring Cypress at 290 is just adding a westbound right turn lane to help some operations there in front of Home Depot. Telge projects. These are 3 remove and replacement of an existing concrete boulevard. Those projects are in that commercial area. We've got a lot of heavy truck traffic. The original road was not built to handle that kind of traffic, so we're having to remove and replace that, and we'll do some minor intersection improvements there at 290 as part of that project as well. And last but not least, simple little traffic signal down on the West Road at Mira Mesa area. And that is it on my presentation. This last slide, I wanted to include some contact information for y'all. This first web link is for the Harris County Flood Control District's 2018 bond program. They've gone through a lot of public meetings, and they're in the process of designing and getting ready to construct a lot of those projects. They've got a lot of channel projects, cleaning some and desilting, a lot of channel projects underway. But that's you can get a lot of information there for that. Our Recovery and Resiliency Division has a public information office, and they asked me to give you this email address if you have any questions about any of their projects. They manage most of the projects that are within subdivisions and are improving drainage within the subdivisions based on their drainage studies that they've mostly completed. And then obviously, if you have any questions for Eric and I on our projects, there's our email addresses, and Randy as well. And if you don't like our answers, you can always email Randy, our boss. He'd be more than happy to help you out as well. But long and short of it, we're here to help y'all, answer any questions you have, and help the public. Feel free to give them our information, and we would love to answer any questions you have. And I guess we're going to open it up for questions. Would you like me to stop sharing my screen at this point?
Sure, you can do that, or I can do that for you.
Okay.
Normally, we would ask people to put their questions in the chat, but I think we're small enough. If you want to unmute yourself and you have a question, we probably have time for a couple questions for Paul.
I got a question.
Yes, Jeff, go ahead.
Paul, you mentioned about projects now going through a group to decide what projects are funded or how they're funded, or how does that work? And I do know that the current court kind of changed the way money was split for road projects among the precincts, and I think it's equal now. But how much did Precinct 3 lose out of that? Do you know?
Hang on, I'm moving my screens around so it looks like I'm looking towards the group and not away from the group. I've got 2 different screens. So basically what they did is they increased the total amount of transportation funding, but then yes, they also split it evenly amongst the 4 precincts. I think before it was based more on road mileage that each precinct maintains, and now it's just a clean split. And then they took that pot of money, it's around $40 million per year, and they took each precinct's pot of money and put it in 4 buckets. And so if your project meets the funding criteria for that bucket, we'd submit it to engineering. they approve our plan, and then we move forward in design and construction based on that approved plan. Our plan for 2020 has been approved, and we're working on our 2021 to get that approved. So,
And
does that answer your question?
And what is the decision-making process, and where does that decision-making process sit?
Well, it's basically if you meet the criteria in the plan, they approve it for funding. If you don't meet the criteria, then it either has to be delayed and use other funding sources. You know, we have a little bit of metro money. We have, I think there's some other funding. You know, we and the technical staff pay real close attention to the scope, schedule, and budget, but we don't pay a lot of attention to where the money comes from. But that's changing. You know, we used to go down the hall and say, do we have enough money to bid a project? And they would say yes. So we would bid it. But nowadays, we're having to do a lot more planning than we have in the past.
But precinct 3 and 4 both lost some money.
I don't know. I've never looked at a comparison, but yeah, it's definitely different.
Okay. Well said.
Hey, Paul, I have a traffic signal question for you.
Yes, sir.
It's actually a precinct 4 project, but I've been curious about this. It's the North Eldridge expansion project.
Right.
And that runs through neighborhoods, and you have several 2-lane roads that cross North Eldridge. The signal for those 2-lane roads is dual signals. There's a left turn signal and a regular signal, and they're 2-lane roads. And even more interesting, at Quail Creek and North Eldridge, which is actually a T intersection, you have those dual signals, but the people that have the street, the dead end, actually now have a left turn signal coming out of their driveway. So I'm assuming there's some kind of text dot or there's some kind of regulation, because I don't know. Is that a question you can answer?
No, not. That's a really specific technical question that someone with direct knowledge of the design and operations of that intersection would have to answer. But what I can tell you is that Brandon Hicks runs our transportation group in the engineering department, and I trust him with my life. He's a really good traffic engineer. He does a really good job keeping up with all the projects that are going through his office, and not only that, our capital improvement project office as well. And so whatever they did, it probably has a really good explanation.
And that's what I assume. I just was like, I'm just super curious as to what it is. So, but anyway, all right. I thought I'd take a shot.
Not a problem.
Paul, there's a couple questions from the chat, and one is from Mike Price. What is the projected time frame for the Greenhouse Skinner connection to US 290?
I have not seen an updated schedule. They were trying to fast track that through the federal funding process. Obviously, you know, when you go through HGAC and get federal funds, it has a lot of stipulations on when the funds are going to become available. They were looking into some interesting funding schemes to get it done much quicker, but I have not received an update on that project in quite a while. So, but we are, as far as the 3 projects we're responsible for, our goal is to have them all designed, constructed before that opens to traffic.
Okay. And Jim Robertson, who I think has jumped off, asked a question, but I think you answered it, about the 25% to each precinct. Has it affected precinct 3 projects? And the answer is yes. So,
Right.
Any other questions? Any other comments?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
Paul, you're familiar with the Barker Cypress crossover at 290?
Yes, sir.
So right where South intersects Barker Cypress. That's right at the demarcation of the maintenance responsibility between TxDOT and Precinct 3, right at the intersection of South and Barker Cypress. That's also approximately right where the U-turn under Barker Cypress occurs. You familiar with that particular layout?
Yes, if you're looking at a Google Earth view of it, there's a distinct line just south of the South Road intersection, and
Right.
where it changes to asphalt, everything in asphalt is Precinct 3's responsibility. Everything in concrete is TxDOT's responsibility. So the intersection, the undercrossing, and the entire interchange over 290 and both frontage road intersections, that's all TxDOT's maintenance responsibility.
Are the traffic signals, are the lights TxDOT or are the lights county?
At the frontage road, they're TxDOT's responsibility, and everything south all the way down to just south of South Drive. When they built that overpass over the railroad track, that became all their responsibility.
Because, you know, at Telge, this is personal, but it affects everybody. At Telge, by Cy-Fair there, that traffic light that's hanging in front of the actual working traffic light, there's a non-working traffic light hanging in front of there's a non-working one hanging in front of a working one that you cannot see. I mean, you're sitting there trying to, is it green yet? Do you know what I'm talking about? I know you come up that road.
I do.
Yeah,
That's gonna be
I
fixed.
travel that a lot. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
713-934-5900.
Fix this. Yeah, so 713 fix this.
Yeah, that's TxDOT and their contractor. We've I mentioned our Hempstead at Huffmeister. One of the delays on that moving forward, it's obviously already signalized, but we're going to replace that old traffic signal with a newer one. But we've been working with TxDOT and their contractor to get them out of the way because they had to build some drainage improvements on that east leg, and we've been waiting for them to clean up. We've been waiting for an agreement with UP Railroad to get through Commissioner's Court, and then that's the only reason that project hasn't moved forward yet. So as soon as we get all those things taken care of, we will you'll see a new signal going up at that intersection.
Yeah, it's one of those things everybody always, because they figure I know something about it. It's like, well, there's lots of reasons because him, ha. Okay, anybody else have a question? Don't you miss Keith being here, y'all? Remember when Keith Brana was here throwing out his little personal things at his intersection? Come on. Okay, anybody? Nothing? Well, Paul, thank you so very, very much for everything. We really appreciate you being here. We appreciate your updates, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the friendly faces. Thank you for the good questions, and y'all have a great week.
Awesome, Paul. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna drop off now if that's okay.
All right.
Have a good day. Thank you.
All right, you too.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Landon, did you have a question or you were about to say something?
I was just going to give Paul a hard time before he dropped off
Okay.
because he did such a great job with the question on the 25% drop down and trying to be political with it. So I can tell the rest of everybody, it's really tough for Paul's spot. I came from Road and Bridge and our stuff was never political in anything we do. And when that 25% changed everything from Road and Bridge to CIP on how we have to get projects actually approved and everything else. It was difficult for us on a lot of ends because we are Precinct 3 and 4, which have more mileage than everybody else. So it's been really difficult for Paul and his group to figure out the projects and to estimate the situations of where am I going to help the public the best and how do I get the project to move forward. It's tough for the areas that have a lot of mileage to take care of. And y'all know the growth out there with you guys. Your growth is huge. That bridge land is going to be a lot of stuff. So Paul's doing a great job over there and moving the way he can. to get that forward. And I just thought it was funny. I was going to give him a hard time because we're not used to that kind of stuff. We're just
No,
used to
I hear
talking
you. So Landon, you are welcome to stay on with us, but I specifically talked with Paul. He did not feel comfortable being on here with us as we proceed forward talking about what we need to talk about, which is Harris County Commissioners Court. You're welcome to stay on with us. You're welcome to mute yourself and just whatever, if you want to interject. We have a lot of advocates on this call. One of them didn't get to introduce themselves. That's Miss Sarah Singleton. I know she's a big advocate for all things that's right and just. So anyways, we got a lot of stuff happening in Harris County Commissioners Court, and Landon keeps me updated on Precinct 4. I don't get so many updates for Precinct 3, but I think I get enough for Precinct 4 to get a good idea that there's a lot of change happening in Commissioners Court that I think, and I say it all the time, anytime we have somebody from Harris County speak, we really need to be aware of what's going on in Commissioners Court and make our voices heard. You know, in the past, when you had to attend Commissioners Court, you had to be there before 8 so that you could sign up, and you probably wouldn't speak till like 5 or 6 o'clock at night. You were spending the entire day. Now, being virtual, you can sign up and they call you or ping you or however they do that to it's your time to talk. So, you know, there's a lot of things that I know they're trying to make it equal for all precincts throughout Harris County. But as it's been alluded through some questions from Jeff and some other folks, money's being taken away from Precinct 3 and 4, and our area is going to see the difference. We're going to see a difference in the way the roads and bridges and other services that happen in the purview of Harris County. So I kind of want to open it up to discussion. I know there's people on this call that know a lot more than I do, but I would love to have some discussion and talk about it so people can be educated on what's going on with Commissioners Court. I'm going to mute myself and open it up for discussion.
Silence reigns. Would anybody like to start? Would anybody like to say anything to start it?
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and throw in a few comments. I too have to be careful because I'm in the consulting engineering business, and I do work in all the precincts, and they're all my friends. But of course, I live in Precinct 4 and do a lot of work in Precinct 4 and 3 and 1 and 2. But I'll say this: there is a definite change on the court. You have probably in the last year, we've had more 3-2 votes than we've had the past 10 years. So it's really not a lot of uniformity on the court. I certainly see everybody's point about equalizing things among each precinct. I guess the thing to me that we really need to look forward to, or look what's going to happen is there going to be a movement whereby the precincts that are perceived to have gotten things others in the past, are we going to be penalized and allow the perceived precincts that didn't catch up? You know, I guess that's something in my mind we need to keep up with. But I think to me, the major thing is we really need the court to, right now, it is the most partisan court I've ever seen. And that's really the thing we need to change. And I think if anybody had the answer to that, I guess I don't have an answer to that one.
I don't know how you change it. I think the problem right now really is that this is a county, not city, and we need to, I don't know how you do it. Harris County is huge, and precincts 3 and 4 are the largest part of the county. And I know that we have tried to invite our county commissioner out to this side of the county and just to see it, and she's not interested in coming out here. She's much more based in the city of Houston. I know Michael has tried to have her come out. He's made that effort.
You mean the county judge, not commissioner?
I'm sorry, the county, yeah, the county judge.
Yeah.
She's not particularly interested in knowing what's happening out here. She's very Houston based. And we're not just city of Houston. We are a huge county. And most of the new road building, most of the people are moving out this way, and we're very undeveloped out here. And we need the roads and everything out here. The roads are already in the city of Houston, and yes, they need to be maybe redone and rebuilt, but that's city of Houston funds, you know, that's there. And yes, it is county, but they're also city of Houston. They have double funding there, whereas we don't have any of that. We only have county funding. That's all we have out here. There aren't cities. You know, we have what, Tomball and Jersey Village, and is that all? Or those are only two cities out here? Maybe is there another Waller? No, that's Waller County. So we don't have those options. We only have county funding. It's very different. We have a very different look out here, but I don't think that's understood from the other side. That's hard, and I don't know how you make that clear. I think it's seen as haves and have-nots, and that's not really what it is. I don't think that entire picture is very clear, and I don't know how you change that. I don't know how.
Colleen, I think you're exactly right. I think it's viewed as the haves and the have-nots. And I think the other thing that is unique to where we live in Harris County is that there are other large counties in Texas. However, the majority, when you look at like the DFW area, all of them have incorporated cities.
Right.
Very rare to have such a large area that is not a city. And so I personally feel that it's not just part of the county commissioner's court that doesn't get it, and that we feel that the pain of that, so to speak. I don't think Austin gets it either. I think our local state officials do, but when you get to the floor of the House or the Senate, the others, and I realize we're talking about commissioner's court, but just to your point, how unique Harris County is, I don't feel like that Austin fully understands the issues that come up with such a large residential area inside an unincorporated county, which further hampers commissioner's court because they can only do things that they're allowed to from the state legislature.
I mean, think how much legislation there is that is just about Harris County, that just describes Harris County. I mean, I think Sarah and I know that because we've been Harris County because we've been worked for the legislature. But there's and Landon, you know, there's so much legislation that is written for a county describing a population of, you know, and it beginning with an H and ending with an S in the state of, you know, I mean, there is so much legislation that is about Harris County. It's, I don't know, we're such a specific thing.
I think those are key points there. One of the things that we have to look at, and I have, as you have mentioned, Colleen, I not only reached out to the judge, but I've also reached out to the commissioners for Precinct 1 and Precinct 2. And the response that I received from their office was that that wasn't their area. But I said, well, at the court, you represent the entire Harris County, and your vote affects the entire county. And they start backpedaling when I told them that. And before this pandemic, they start saying, well, I told them about the Rotary and I told them about the chamber. And then they start saying something about, well, that's too far for them to go during the week. Maybe we can do something on the weekend. And that was prior to the pandemic. But their office kept saying, well, I got to get with Garcia, and I got to get with Ellis and see what they say, and really didn't get a whole lot of feedback from that. One of the things, you know, as was pointed out, haves and have-nots, you know, the thing is, the money is Harris County, and the money is supposed to be distributed based on needs and growth. And if they do and create a formula that actually does that, I think we will be better off. Doing the clean split is just the way that they were able to do it because the controlling votes on the court, the precinct set up gives them that break. But if we can work with organizations and get a statistical breakdown and come up with a formula that can actually better manage what the statistical breakdown of the money could be and present that, I think that's going to be something harder for them to dispute. It's not going to stop them from disputing it, but it's going to be harder for them to dispute if we go up there with a statistical data plan and a formula to show how it should be appropriately broken out to meet the needs of the entire county.
Landon, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but last time when I was there, a lot of the conversation was 3 and 4 is needing the money because the people are here. 1 and 2 are saying we don't have the people because we didn't get the money. And we need the money to build the infrastructure so that people can be part of our precincts, so the population will grow. So I think it's very complicated, and that it's 2 different ways, and it's an us and them, but at the same time, it's an interpretation of how they feel like the money needs to be spent. It's reactive versus proactive. And that makes it very complicated to me. And so I don't think you can come up with a formula based on those 2. If I'm correct, Landon, I don't know if that's where it sits now.
Right now, Leslie, yeah, you're right on most of it. And let me just encourage all y'all on a situation like this. I can stay on this because I'm not just in Road and Bridge anymore. I'm your actually community liaison per se. I'm the assistant. You do have several others that I have set on some of y'all's boards. But let me encourage you, everything that y'all do is doing something, okay? It is different. It sounds like it falls on deaf ears some, and we do have long commissioners' courts. But every time that you come in, every time you write a letter, make sure you have your commissioners on there, make sure you have the judge on there. It does matter and it does build. There is some things that have been resolved. And we just got to keep moving forward with a lot of it. It's discouraging some, and Leslie, she's been ringing the bell for you guys. Believe me, she's been leading the way with it, and that's good. And y'all are kind of a unique situation because y'all do fall in 4 and 3. So even if you are a constituent in Precinct 3, you're part of this chamber that is 4 and 3. Make sure you add both commissioners on it. Let us know your needs in there. Paul is doing a good job of trying to figure out the ways with the funding and the different ways to get those projects done. I had mentioned it before. It was by mileage back there, that we did have a formula like that. Both of your commissioners did try to raise that question. We had people speak on it. They decided to go the 25 split on it. And it sounds fair on paper whenever you talk about fair splitting the money. But when it comes to sheer mileage and sheer growth, and then exactly, Mr. Jackson hit the head on the nail right there. They do have mostly incorporated areas that are supposed to be taking care of those roads. You guys live where you've got a little tiny bit of Jersey Village out there that's helping with some of that. Other than that, you're relying on 3 and 4 and to help your businesses out. So we'll continue to do them whichever way that the court decides to set things, and we'll try to do it. But your voice is being heard no matter what. And I can speak for my commissioner, especially in road projects. We've had road projects where the public has told us they did not want that road project. And your actual emails and calls in made the commissioner say no to that project after he did that. So a lot of times it'll work the other way too. We don't know a need all the way. We do our best to reach, to come to these meetings, to know where y'all's needs are. But we need to know where those needs are through an email, through a phone calls too, because you may highlight an area that we don't know about. We have a small amount of men in those areas that are out there that are road and bridge that are covering them. They try to go to our CIP groups that are doing the capital improvement projects. And they try to do their studies, but you're ultimately our eyes and ears, every single one of you. So y'all have to show us those areas. The gentleman, Mr. Price, talking about Barker Cypress, that depends on his business right there. We need his voice. We need to know when there's issues. We do take things to TxDOT for you guys. We'll hand you the number to talk to TxDOT, but at the same time, we need to be sending an email too on behalf of you.
So not to make a already complicated issue even more complicated, but any thoughts on incorporating Cypress? I know that when the Woodlands did that, that brought a lot of people to the table, and I don't remember the specifics from that conversation, but I do know that the Woodlands got a few things that they were looking for once they started getting real serious about that. I don't know. Random
So
thought.
Sam, there's an agreement. When I first became the president, I was thinking, when is this agreement going to be over so we could talk about incorporation? And Sarah could chime in too on this. It's a long time agreement with City of Houston and MUD districts that go a mile long, and they forever just renew themselves. City of Houston, my understanding, I can't speak for City of Houston, but I think they learned their lesson from Kingwood. They probably would not want to annex Cypress. And personally, as a resident of Cypress, I don't want City of Houston to annex us. So it's a challenge. It's something that sucks, but at the same time, I think it's beyond a control.
I wasn't talking annexation.
Oh.
I was talking about actually incorporating Cypress into town.
I think it can actually happen because of the number of roads and stuff that Houston already has annexed. I think Houston has too many inroads. Literally, I think Houston has already annexed too much of it. They have all the major roads, so there's not much left to incorporate. I mean, nothing to tax. It's just houses. It's Houston. City of Houston already has the major roads and businesses.
We should have looked at it 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, or 50 years ago, or 100 years ago.
Well,
City of
I can say this
Houston's
for sure.
extraterritorial jurisdiction stretches all the way out to the western edge of the county.
Yeah.
I could say this by working at Compact back in the 80s, and they took everything out there to get the tax dollars from Compact. So I do know if it's economically feasible for them, they're going for it.
Yeah, it goes all, I know that it goes all the way to Tomball. I mean, I think they touch. Tomball and Houston touch.
Well, I know that because they took Compact. I was there when it took, and that's when it went from 149 to 249.
Yep.
Full disclosure, I'm currently working for City of Houston. Actually, as Director of Constituent Services for Councilmember Amy Peck. So all of these incorporated areas that go out to Tomball, up through Barker Cypress, out to the Outlet Mall, they all fall within the boundaries of District A, which is where Councilmember Peck serves, and I under her. So here is a link to a map of the City of Houston that has actually a couple of layers. It's pretty interesting. It'll show you all the different aspects of the city, but in addition to where they've come in and done all these tax grabs. So I don't disagree with any of your opinions, actually, because I also live out here in Town Lake. And
I knew somebody who got a ticket for buying fireworks once because they bought them from county property and then they stepped onto Huffmeister Road, which is...
Yeah. They used to sit on Eldridge and do that same thing. As soon as you head south, they'd get you.
Yeah, they used to have law enforcement would sit there and wait for you to make the wrong turn out of the fireworks parking lot.
Exactly. Ooh, boy. So, well, I don't think we solved any of the world's problems or the county's problems. Sorry, Landon, nothing solved.
Just keep at it. Keep at it.
Solutions. Let Leslie know, let Paula know, let Landon know that we've solved the problem. Tabitha, anything you want to share? You're muted. Tabitha, you're muted.
I will.
Can somebody unmute Tabitha?
Yeah. Let me see.
Hang on, can you hear me?
Yep.
There it is.
Okay. I was just going to say we're just gradually working with the downtown district and businesses to accommodate anybody who's actually coming online and wanting people to go downtown, because we are still running our park and rides off of 290. Mainly just the Cypress one is kind of the big one that has people coming in. And upcoming stuff is our August 23rd service changes, and that's also when we're bringing a lot of new things online, like Houston's getting its first bus rapid transit system running along Uptown in the Post Oak area. And we have the new Northwest Transit Center redesign that's been going on, and so that's going to be operational by August 23rd and then completed at the end of December. So it's going to have all the bells and whistles.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Or were you guys go run the bus from the park and ride to the train station, or you guys go do Uber, or that's still working based on the groundbreaking for the train?
Are you talking about the Texas Central train plan?
Correct.
Yeah, so we're going to have, we're going to have a system running between the Northwest Transit Center and the train station, so people can park at one area or be able to get to the train station without having to get a car or a service or anything. So it will accommodate.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Does anybody
welcome.
have final words?
Yeah, real quickly, I had something before we go. I'm probably preaching to the choir here, so maybe this would be a good opportunity for me to practice. But leading up to the general election in November, I just want to remind people, I don't know if y'all have seen, but there was a CBS News report that they did that they were testing the voting mail. And if you haven't seen that, I encourage you to Google it and go take a look at it. Really trying to stay non-political on this. But there were some good points in there, and I want to make them relevant to Texas. Right now, as I see it, the ping pong match going back and forth, the rules still stand. The case is now in the lower court. We may see it back in the Supreme Court before the November election, but the rules as they are right now is to be eligible to vote early by mail in Texas. You have to be 65 years or older, be disabled, be out of the county on election day during the period of early voting. But be confined in jail, but otherwise eligible. Okay. First day to apply for a ballot by mail was January 1st. So you can apply for that ballot. I don't know how you would do that now since the ballot hasn't necessarily been set. But your last day to register to vote for that November election is October 5th. And your last day to apply for a ballot by mail received by the Secretary of State, not postmarked, it has to be received by October 23rd. One of the interesting things about it is the last day to receive a ballot by mail is Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020 at 7 p.m. if the carrier envelope is not postmarked, but if it is postmarked, then it has to be Wednesday, November 4th, the next business day at 5 p.m. if it's postmarked by 7 p.m. The problem with this, as this pointed out, is it can take up to a week for the U.S. Postal Service to process that ballot by mail. So even if it's postmarked by 7 p.m., then it is not going to be there by 5 p.m. that second cutoff, and so it will not be counted. You can actually send your application for a ballot by mail as early as 60 days before an election. Okay, so again, I don't want to get into the whole politics of voting by mail, but I just want to make sure everybody is aware of those deadlines, and also aware of there's state laws and there's the limitations of our U.S. Postal Service. And, you know, if any of you guys have ever had something lost in the mail, well, I'll just kind of leave it at that in my conversation of voting by mail. So,
well, we appreciate that. And to your point, the Postal Service has made changes to actually slow down mail intentionally. A lot of stuff they're saying is because of COVID situation, but I've noticed that a lot of things actually have slowed down based on where it was mailed and the region. So some things they used to take a few days or taking a week, some things that were taking a week or taking 2 weeks. And the priority right now for the U.S. Post Office is what they're getting paid a premium for, which is Amazon Prime and deliveries for retail. And that's why Amazon Prime is delivered on Sundays when regular mail is not delivered by the U.S. Postal Service.
Hey, Sam. Sarah is a ballot board. So if you want to ask Sarah, is there anything you wanted to add? She's ballot board.
I'm sorry, I was frantically looking for a couple of points here. The ballot board is the one that reviews all the ballots by mail for the county. And each party appoints a certain number of clerks. Typically, we appoint 20 to 25. This particular presidential, the clerk is asking for both prominent parties to appoint 50 members. Yeah, and in a presidential, we always see members from the Libertarian Party, the Green Party, others that might be interested in the election come and join us on the ballot board. And we compare the signatures of the application with the signatures that come in on the ballot and just ensure does the same voter look like they signed each one. And I'm going to keep this I'm trying to keep it very election specific and not give you other info that I might have opinions on. One of the things that happened earlier this year, happens every 2 years, the county clerk's office mails you a voter registration card. Should your voter registration card get lost in the mail or bounce back to the county, let me clarify, anything that's bounced back to the county is exactly what I meant to say. If it is returned to the county voter registrar's office, your registration is then put on suspense. So if you've ever shown up at an election location and they go, hey, we need you to fill out this green form, we need a statement of residence, and you're like, I've been registered for 30 years at this house with my license, this is why. It's because something bounced back to the county. So a lot of that happened this year. I feel like more people got on suspense this particular year than previous. If you didn't vote in the primary election, you can go to the tax registrar's office, the link I put in chat, and just search your own name, and it'll tell you if you're on suspense. If you are, follow the other link to Harris Votes and go all the way to the bottom, click Update Your Registration. You can update your registration with the Secretary of State's office, and then you'll be current when you go to vote. You won't have to fill out the extra form. A lot of times that comes with ballot by mail, and the voter skips it or misses it because the ballot came to their address. So clearly the county knows where I live, right? You mailed me the ballot. So I don't need to fill out this useless form, except that it's required by law. And so we can't accept a ballot without the legal form telling us to do so. So that's how to check it on suspense. And if you do choose to vote by mail, make sure that your signatures are your normal signature. The county has several on file with your voter registration or jury duty. There's other means that we can search to make sure that your signatures look the same. And if you happen to get an unsolicited application for the ballot by mail that you don't want, shred it. If you have the opportunity to go vote early, I highly encourage it. Go vote early. So that way you've, aside from the lines for a presidential, you won't come across on rarest occasions, someone will say, I went to go vote and I was told that I voted by mail, but I didn't vote by mail. And then they vote provisionally, but if there's a record somehow that their name actually did vote by mail, you don't get to vote again. You only get to vote once under your own name. So you want to go vote early. In terms of the dates that Sam mentioned, this particular county clerk is piloting a program for drop-offs for ballot by mail on polling locations on election day. So they're there are certain locations, since you can go anywhere in the county, but certain locations where you're allowed to bring your ballot by mail with you. Should you or someone you know actually carry a ballot by mail for someone else? Let's say your mother signed it and you want to turn in your mother's ballot by mail while you go vote. You need to legally fill out the witness section because you're carrying it. Whether you watched her sign it or sign the ballot or not, you need to fill out the legal part of it that says that you witnessed it because you're physically carrying election mail. I'll stop.
It'd be tough.
That girl's got a lot of info. So, all right. Anything else?
We have one thing left. We do have Commissioners Court today. We've had Commissioners Court Tuesday. We have Commissioners Court today. We have Commissioners Court next week. And that's why I'm about to jump back on. I do want to let everybody know that today is talking about a possible of raising taxes. There is 4 options that are on the table, plus don't ever forget that there is a option underneath COVID for lessening taxes during that time that they can look at. So please, if you don't have time to sit through court, look for updates coming out. And definitely, I want to encourage everybody to write their commissioners on what they believe on this situation that they're looking at. Because we definitely do, especially for my commissioner, I can speak for, he listens to different emails and calls in on what his constituents want.
Thank you very much. All right. Well, as always, we've gone over, so.
Well, Colleen,
Lot to talk about.
Colleen, congratulations on your new position.
Thank you.
I don't know if you and Leslie have talked about, are you going to continue to be a chairman or not? We hope you still get to be on our committee and hang out with us.
Well, I'll have to, Leslie and I need to talk about it. I have no idea what this job entails yet. I have to walk in Monday and find out. I mean, I know what it entails, but I don't know what the time constraints are, so I'll have to see. So anyway, yes, I'd love to, because I mean, we still belong, right? And
absolutely.
So yay, I'm excited. Yeah. It'll be fun. So I will see all of y'all.
So, that'd be great. Thanks for what you're doing.
I still need everybody's support.
All right.
All right. Thank y'all, and have a great day and stay safe and healthy.
Good luck, Landon.
Everybody.
Yeah. Good luck, Landon.
Thanks, Sarah.
Go.
Thanks, Sarah.
Dang, y'all are fast.